Hey guys, this is Alex here in Bali, and I'd like to talk about coronavirus. I read this morning that 80% of the world might eventually get affected by coronavirus. So I have a question for you. Is coronavirus a good thing or a bad thing? Can you even ask this question? So here is the parallel I'd like to make. Maybe you've heard of someone who had cancer or a near-death experience. And when they recover from it, if and when they recover from it, they will often tell you, you know what, this was the best thing that ever happened to me. That was a wake-up call that I needed. So let's just for the sake of the discussion, reflect on whether the coronavirus is a good thing or a bad thing. And to get some perspective, I'd like to call in this beautiful book. I'm not going to read it to you, but it's The Beautiful Mare. And it's written by my friend Mark Cohen. And basically what's happening in this book is you've got a gentleman who has a horse, and half of the village says, well, we think it's a bad thing you have a horse because now you're better off than us. And others, villagers says, I think it's great that you have a beautiful horse because that means you're wealthy and we're good for you. And the wise man says, well, I don't know if it's good or bad. I just know I have a beautiful horse. And then his sons go play with the horse. Then eventually the horse goes away. And some people say, well, it's a bad thing he went away. Others say it's a good thing he went away. And he says, I don't know if it's good or bad. I know that the horse went away. And the son starts playing with other village boys. And then the horse comes back with 5 other horses. And some say, well, you got it now. I don't think it's a good thing. Others say, I think it's a great thing. I don't know. All I know is that I have 5 horses now. And then he falls from the horse and breaks his leg. Some people say it's good, some people say it's bad. All he knows that he cannot be on the horse anymore, so he goes on studying with his father. And then the war breaks out. And then because he's got a broken leg, he cannot go to war. Some say it's good, some say it's bad. At the end of the day, it is what it is. It's not good or it's not bad. My son cannot go to war. So, and it goes on. But basically, the message is the following. It's not good or it's not bad. It is. So a little bit with that idea in mind, what if we were just for a minute stopping for a second and assuming that, okay, the coronavirus is not a good thing, it's not a bad thing. It just is. And what does it mean? And if we start at looking at the good things and the messages that we're receiving, what could there be? And a little bit like, you know, when you get cancer, you say, what is the cause of the cancer? Sure, I can treat the cancer and the symptom of the cancer, but if I do that, in many cases, maybe the cancer is going to come out in another way or another form, and it's going to be another disease. I believe that the body is the barometer of the soul. And then when some kind of imbalance happens in your body, it's your body communicating with you, telling you that, you know, hey, pay attention. There's something often at an emotional level that you need to address. And when you do that, when you go to the root of the imbalance, often that's when you're able to completely clear. What if the coronavirus is just a message from Mother Earth or from the universe to tell us, hey, guys, listen, this is crazy. This is a crazy world we live in. Let's pay attention. What if the planet has been trying to do that? You know, you've got ways that the planet over and over is telling us and is communicating with us things that we do not listen. And of course, you had people like, you know, Greta Thunberg. And before that, you had Greenpeace and other eco-warriors around the world and scientists around the world that tell you what's going on with climate change. But we're not listening. Why? Because we're not affecting. If it's not affecting me, why should I care? And the beauty, in a weird way, the beauty of coronavirus is now everybody's paying attention. Everybody's listening. Everybody's crazy about getting all the information. So, in a way, now, if people pay attention, they might reconsider some of the things that we were doing as humanity that didn't make any sense. And look at all the things we do now and all the things that we have changed in our behaviors in the last month or so, or 2 months, that are pretty common sense that we should have done for a long time. Things that are being pointed out, like consumption of wild animals. This is where it started. This is the root cause. Well, maybe that's something that should not happen anyway. And maybe that's a point of Mother Earth saying, hey, this is not okay. And then you can go on in many directions. Cruise ships. Who goes on a cruise ship these days? Yeah? Well, has been proven in the hospitality industry as one of the most polluting industry in our hospitality industry. Whether it's the fuel used for the boats, the waste that is being dumped in the ocean, the lack of interaction between the people who are on those cruise ships and the locals. I mean, right now, you didn't want to listen, all the signs, here we go. Now you have a good reason not to go on a cruise ships. Improvement of hygiene. People are going around cleaning trains and telling people how they should wash their hands, things you teach a 3 and 4-year-old. That's pretty common sense. Regardless of the coronavirus, it's a pretty good idea to protect yourself from all the germs, and the best way to do that is to maintain proper hygiene. Makes sense. The other thing that I find interesting is we have reached a point where every country is going back to isolation. Every country now is, most of them, let's say, are really putting in power people that are promoting closing borders, seclusion, and yeah, hey, guess what? With coronavirus, there is no borders anymore. And any attempt of closing the borders and separation is failing. And you've got areas in France where we didn't think coronavirus would reach, and boom, this is where it is. So all of a sudden, we realize that this doesn't work. That the only way to move forward is to collaborate, is to exchange ideas and see how together we can deal with the situation. China is not supplying toilet paper and all sorts of products that we use in our everyday life. So what are we doing? We're reconsidering the way we consume stuff, and we're considering going local and shorter loops and reusing and maybe collaborating. I mean, these are things that environmentalists have been saying for years. Those are things that are pretty common sense. But unfortunately, we needed a strong sign in order to wake up and do something about it. Airlines, people have been traveling, and we promote tourism as a way to expand ourselves, but at the same time, it's probably one of the most polluting things you can do in your life. So reconsidering whether your trip is necessary or not, that's a pretty good idea. So reducing flights and travels and all these crazy meetings that we have all around the world all the time on all these topics. We've been saying for years that it's important to have now do these meetings over internet. We don't have to meet all the time. We don't have to have these crazy conferences, and great. I think it's fantastic. So I just want to plant that seed because I could go on forever. But the fundamental idea is that instead of complaining that things should be different, once you surrender and says, okay, it is what it is. Now there is coronavirus. What it is that I can improve, what it is that I can change in my behavior that could have a positive impact, and how can I see the positive in this situation, I think is a way to go. One thing that people who are into mindfulness and raising consciousness will tell you over and over. The key to enlightenment is boredom, meditation, going back to yourself, spending time with yourself, connecting, centering yourself is the way to go if you want to grow. That's why we tell our kids to just go play outside, just stay in your room. And we want them to be bored. And when they are bored, that's when they become creative. But as a species, we tend not to do that. We always run. And now with coronavirus, we are forced to do that. We are forced to stay home and not go out. So people you can see on TV, they say, oh, I'm bored. Great, that's exactly the point. And the other thing is, if you want to learn something, you have to be listening. When you talk, you don't learn anything. And we all tend to talk in a way. We all tend to think and see the view from our perspective. And now all of a sudden, the world, and thanks to coronavirus, we don't have a choice, we all wear masks. So in a weird way, we are forced to shut up, forced to just put a mask that says, all right, now I'm going to stop. And when you do that, just that idea of putting a mask on your face, people talk less. They realize, maybe it's time to go within. So I don't know. I hope this video is useful. Tell me what you think. Please, by all means, any opinion is welcome. Go ahead and have a beautiful day. Thank you, everyone.